Have you ever, treated love and justice in your spiritual life as this sort of good cop, bad cop routine? I mean, one day you're talking to the warm, comforting cop, and then the next day you're completely terrified of the harsh, punitive one. Well, welcome to the Deep Dives. Today we're jumping into a 7-step reflection on Ezekiel chapter 43, and the mission here is to really resolve this massive, everyday conflict in how we perceive love and justice. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, that good cop, bad cop dynamic is, it perfectly captures a behavioral trap that we fall into constantly.
Right, like all the time?
Exactly. We frequently separate God's character based entirely on whatever our current circumstances are. I mean, we essentially just project our daily experiences right onto the divine.
Meaning, if you are facing a sudden, devastating misfortune, your immediate reaction is to question a loving God.
Right. You ask where the love went.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, if you mess up and you suddenly need forgiveness, you fear a just, wrathful God.
Mm-hmm.
We just end up picking one attribute to focus on, depending on what we need or, fear in that exact moment.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is why we actually do this. Because humanly speaking, we just find it incredibly difficult to believe that profound, unconditional love and absolute, unyielding justice can actually coexist in one single entity.
They just feel mutually exclusive to us.
They really do. So we compartmentalize them. We read scripture, and we even pray through the lens of just one of those attributes at a time.
Well, let me push back on that premise a little bit, because isn't it completely natural to judge God's character by how our lives are actually going? I mean, if you are in deep pain or dealing with a massive crisis, doesn't it instinctively feel like you're being punished by a God of justice rather than being comforted by a God of love?
Oh, it definitely feels that way. When you're in the thick of a crisis, the idea of love just feels incredibly distant. But our feelings don't dictate reality, right?
It's true.
And you actually see this perfectly illustrated in Ezekiel chapter 43, verses 1 through 12. So in this passage, the glory of the God of Israel is returning to the temple through the east gate.
And there's this really crucial kind of mind-bending detail in verse 3. Ezekiel explicitly notes that this vision of restoration looks exactly like the terrifying vision he saw years earlier when Jerusalem was judged and destroyed.
Yes.
The imagery hasn't changed at all.
Precisely. The God who appeared in fierce judgment and the God who returned to bring glorious restoration are not two different versions of God.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, both of these seemingly opposite actions, they stem from the exact same unchanging holiness.
Man, that changes the paradigm entirely.
Oh.
Because if they stem from the same holiness, it's less like two different cops and more like, say, a single skilled surgeon.
Woo, I really like that analogy.
Right. Like the scalpel of justice cutting in and removing the bad, and the stitches of love closing and healing the wound. They're both wielded by the exact same healer.
That is the perfect way to look at it. He judges sin with justice, and he cleanses with love, but the source of both actions is absolutely singular. It's the holiness that demands justice, which is the exact same holiness that provides the cure.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The surgeon isn't just cutting to cause pain. God's ultimate goal in using both the scalpel and the stitches is simply to cleanse his people so he can dwell with them forever.
Right, that is the end game.
Exactly. It's not about arbitrary punishment. It's about preparation for presence.
Which means we really have to stop viewing our daily lives through a fractured lens. I mean, if the end game is relationship, then every tool used is meant to serve that relationship.
So bringing this ancient theology right into your immediate reality today, this is a direct challenge to stop assuming that every hardship is proof God is angry or has abandoned you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on the flip side, you have to stop assuming that smooth sailing means you are somehow spiritually outperforming everyone else.
We are called to reflect this unified holiness in our daily lives. Our relationships, our finances, our habits, even our online activity. We can't compartmentalize our own behavior either.
Right.
This raises an important question. How do we practically embrace correction just as much as we embrace comfort?
So if the end game is for God to dwell with us, how are we supposed to prepare for that? And this actually explains a really bizarre command at the end of Ezekiel 43.
Oh yeah, verse 10.
Right. In verse 10, God commands Ezekiel to describe the precise physical design, the exits, and the measurements of the temple to the people. And it's specifically so they will be ashamed of their iniquities.
He literally uses the architecture of a physical building to provoke a moral awakening. And if you think about why that works, it makes perfect sense.
How so?
Well, by seeing the precise, perfect, orderly boundaries of where God dwells, the people are suddenly confronted with how chaotic and boundless and morally messy their own lives have become.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the sheer perfection of that architectural blueprint exposes their own spiritual disorder.
It provides an objective standard. So I'll leave you with this to ponder today. If ancient physical blueprints were meant to wake them up to their need for both the scalpel and the stitches, what serves as that tangible blueprint of holiness that you use to measure your own life today? Are you finally ready to let the good cop and the bad cop merge back into the one true surgeon?